Have you ever met someone new, someone you've never laid eyes on before in your life, and felt an instant, unsettling sense of familiarity? A strange feeling, almost as if you've known them for years, despite this being your very first encounter. Not the warmth of a soulmate, something stranger, something more perplexing. A sense of recognition that defies logic. It's like déjà vu, but on a deeper level, as if you're stepping into a play where you already know the lines, where you instinctively understand the unfolding drama, even though the actors are strangers. You find yourself anticipating their reactions, predicting their next words. This can be confusing, disorienting even, especially if you're trying to move on from a painful past, from experiences you'd rather forget. You might notice that new relationships echo old hurtful dynamics, mirroring patterns you thought you'd escaped, making you question your judgment, wondering if you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes. Are you attracting the same kind of people, or are you somehow recreating the past? But this isn't just bad luck. It's not some cosmic curse. It's a real human response to trauma, a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. Our brains and bodies remember. They hold on to experiences, both good and bad. The emotional energy of past wounds, the feelings associated with those difficult times, mapping out the pain, creating a blueprint of what to avoid, or paradoxically, what to seek out. When we meet someone with a similar vibe, someone who unconsciously reminds us of a past relationship or experience, our subconscious lights up, sending signals of familiarity and recognition, pulling us toward the familiar, even if it hurts, even if we know on some level that it's not good for us. It's our psyche's way of trying to resolve unfinished business, of revisiting old wounds in an attempt to heal them, hoping to get it right this time, to rewrite the ending of a painful chapter. But without awareness, without conscious effort to understand these patterns, we end up repeating the same story, trapped in a cycle of familiar pain, casting new people in old roles, unconsciously assigning them parts in our unresolved dramas. Our brains equate familiar with survivable, even if that familiar is unhealthy or harmful. So we gravitate toward what we know, even when what we know is holding us back. True healing isn't about changing the ending of an old story. That's impossible. It's about writing a new one, about creating a different narrative for your life. By understanding why this happens, by recognizing the subconscious forces at play, we can break free from these cycles, from the repetitive patterns that keep us stuck. The first step is recognizing the pattern, acknowledging the familiar dynamics that keep resurfacing in your life, and choosing relationships that nurture growth, not pain, that support your healing journey. It's brave work. It requires courage and self-compassion. And it starts with a willingness to see, to look honestly at your past and present, and to choose a different future. Let's talk about energetic replication, a fascinating phenomenon that shapes our relationships and experiences in ways we often don't realize. It's about how the energies around us, especially those from our past, continue to influence our present. Energetic replication is the way we unconsciously mirror the emotional patterns we grew up with. These patterns, ingrained from childhood, act as blueprints for our future interactions. They dictate who we're drawn to, how we react, and even the kinds of situations we find ourselves in. Imagine walking into a room after an argument. The air is thick and the tension is palpable. You can feel the tension. It's almost a physical presence, isn't it? That's energy. It's the invisible force that connects us all, influencing our moods and behaviors. Energetic replication happens when we carry or attract the same emotional vibe, the same underlying energy signature. This often stems from the emotional landscape we experienced in formative relationships, particularly during our childhood. These early interactions shape our expectations and beliefs about relationships. For example, if you grew up with a critical parent, constantly feeling judged or inadequate, you might be drawn to people who, consciously or unconsciously, make you feel not good enough, perpetuating that familiar feeling. This can happen even if they act differently on the surface. The underlying dynamic remains the same. Sometimes we even adopt the behaviors that once hurt us, becoming the very thing we resented. We might do this, using them as armor, as a way to protect ourselves from further pain. This isn't about good or bad people. It's not about assigning blame. It's about patterns, the invisible threads that connect our past to our present. You might leave a toxic boss thinking you're escaping the negativity, only to find yourself with another who triggers the same feelings of stress, anxiety, and inadequacy. It's not a curse. You're not doomed to repeat the same mistakes forever. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. The good news? There's hope for change and growth. Once you see the pattern, once you become aware of these repeating cycles, you can change your relationship with it and ultimately break free from its hold. You can choose which energies you allow into your life. You can become more selective about the people you surround yourself with. And you can choose which ones you let go, releasing yourself from toxic dynamics. Awareness is the first step to breaking free from these deeply ingrained patterns. You have more power than you think to rewrite your story and create a more fulfilling life. Now let's delve into a crucial concept: trauma resonance cycling, a phenomenon that significantly impacts our relationships and our emotional well-being. It's a subtle yet powerful force that shapes how we interact with the world around us. Think of it as the engine behind these repeating patterns in our lives, the unseen mechanism driving us towards familiar, often painful experiences. It's the reason why we might find ourselves in similar situations, with different people, yet experiencing the same emotional outcomes. Our unhealed wounds act like tuning forks, each vibrating with its own unique frequency, a frequency born from past experiences and unresolved emotions. This vibration isn't just a metaphor. It's a real energetic signature that we carry within us, influencing our perceptions and behaviors. Often without realizing it, we unconsciously seek out people and situations that match that frequency, drawn to them as if by an invisible magnetic force. This creates a powerful sense of resonance, a feeling of being understood, seen, and validated. It feels intense and important, like you've finally found someone who truly gets you. But beneath the surface, what we're really connecting with is our own unresolved pain, mirrored back to us in another person. This creates a cycle, a self-perpetuating loop, where the new person's behavior triggers your old wound, activating those deeply ingrained emotional responses. And in turn, your reaction reinforces their behavior, solidifying the dynamic and perpetuating the cycle. And so, the dance repeats, over and over again, leaving you feeling stuck and frustrated. It's hard to break because it operates below conscious thought, a deeply ingrained pattern running in the background. It's driven by our survival instincts, those primal urges that are designed to protect us from danger. Our bodies react to present triggers as if they're past threats, blurring the lines between what is happening now and what happened then. The goal isn't to erase the echo of the past, that's impossible, but to recognize it for what it is, a memory, a feeling, a past experience that is no longer defining your present. When you can name the old wound, when you can identify the source of the pain, you create space between the trigger and your reaction, a buffer zone where you can choose a different response. That's where your power lies, in the ability to choose to respond consciously rather than react automatically. By seeing the cycle, by understanding the patterns at play, you can choose to step out of it and respond differently, breaking free from the chains of the past. Healing starts with awareness, with bringing the unconscious into the light of consciousness. You can calm the tuning fork, silence the vibration of the past, and break the cycle, creating a new future for yourself. Some people become mimic hosts, unwittingly playing roles from our past. They have just enough of a familiar trait that our trauma latches on, casting them in an old story. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it explains why patterns persist. Our expectations and fears shape how we interpret their actions, sometimes coaxing out the very behavior we fear. Recognizing this dynamic shifts the focus from "why do I pick the wrong people?" to "what story am I replaying?" Ask yourself, who does this person remind me of? Is this feeling about them, or is it an echo from my past? When you stop handing out the old script, you can see people for who they really are. That's the beginning of change. Sometimes the old story hijacks our identity. We become trapped in roles like victim, rescuer, or martyr. The pain becomes our whole story, and we forget we're the author. For example, someone betrayed repeatedly may see themselves only as a victim, interpreting every setback as proof of that role. The archetype feels safe because it's familiar, but it limits us. Breaking free means recognizing you are not the role. You're a person who's experienced pain, not defined by it. The work is to gently separate your true self from the old script. Thank the role for trying to protect you, but reclaim your identity. You are more than your pain. You can write a new character for yourself. The pen is in your hand. Let's make this real with a story. Sarah's first boss, Mr. Henderson, was brilliant but volatile. Praise one day, humiliation the next. She worked hard for approval that never came and left burned out. In a new job, her boss Maria is supportive, but when Maria gives feedback, Sarah's old anxiety returns. Her nervous system hears, "You're not good enough," not constructive criticism. Sarah starts overcompensating, reliving the old script. Maria senses Sarah's stress and checks in more, which Sarah interprets as micromanagement. Maria becomes a mimic host, unwittingly cast in Mr. Henderson's role. The trauma cycle is in full swing. Sarah's past is shaping her present. Even in a healthy environment, the old story takes over. Sarah's experience isn't about bad luck. It's about an unhealed wound seeking resolution. The pattern is subtle but powerful. Recognizing it is the first step to change. Healing is possible. How do we break the cycle? It starts with self-awareness. Notice when a feeling or reaction is eerily familiar. Pause and ask, is this about now or is it an echo from my past? That moment of noticing creates space between trigger and reaction. In that space, you can choose a new response. Practice grounding. Feel your feet. Name things in the room. Breathe deeply. This tells your nervous system you're safe now, not back in the old story. Mindfulness interrupts the trauma cycle and anchors you in the present. It's not about perfection, it's about practice. Every time you notice and ground yourself, you weaken the old pattern. You're teaching yourself a new way to be. You are no longer helpless. You have choices. That's real freedom. Breaking the cycle isn't just about stopping old patterns, it's about creating new, healthy ones. You are the author of your story. You can't change the past, but you can write the next chapters. Move from awareness to action. Get clear on your values and what you want in relationships. Practice fierce self-compassion. Your wounded parts aren't bad, just hurt. Learn to reparent yourself with kindness and reassurance. Seek out relationships that reflect who you want to become, not who you were. Healthy dynamics may feel unfamiliar at first, but they're the ground for real connection. Integration means accepting your trauma as part of your story, not the whole story. Your wounds have given you wisdom and strength. Wholeness is embracing all parts of yourself. Your past doesn't define your future. You can write an ending full of connection and peace. Be brave enough to pick up the pen. We've explored energetic replication trauma resonance mimic hosts and archetypal hijacks. If this resonates, know you're not alone. These patterns are deeply human. They're not failures, but maps pointing to where healing is needed. Start by asking questions about your recurring patterns and feelings. Externalize your story. Write, talk, bring it into the light. Awareness is the first step to change. If it feels overwhelming, seek support. A trauma-informed therapist can help. Asking for help is an act of courage. Your past is part of you, but not all of you. Your story is waiting for you to write the next beautiful chapter.